Hey guys, what's up? It's AB Trades, and we're going to discuss the stocks to watch tomorrow, which is Tuesday. So as always, we're going to start off with SPY. So if we look at SPY here on the daily chart, we've been putting these indecision candles here. This is huge because this week we're facing a lot of earnings with a lot of our tech stocks. These tech stocks, FANG stocks, FANG, F-A-A-N-G, which is Facebook, Apple, Amazon, Netflix, and Google, really drive SPY, and SPY drives them. So the earnings on these are bad, and we start to see gap down. SPY will definitely start to see a huge hit here and get a reversal back down to maybe 246, who knows. But this is going to be huge to watch out for. So if you can see here, we have these indecision candles here, doji, doji, hammer, right? So this is what we're having at a crucial support and resistance zone. This is huge because we pushed up and we didn't really make that little red candle down showing that we're reversing. Instead, we showed that bulls are in control here and bears are in control here. So we don't really know what's happening. We just know that this is a crucial point. If we get above these new highs here at 267, we can see bulls push all the way up to 280. But right now the bears are holding down this zone. If we can get below 261, 260, or 261 more like, then the bears will fully take over. So really, we're just watching this. This is a hard fight between the bulls and the bears right here at this zone because of the indecision and because of the past support and resistance, where this is the last time it dropped off back into early December when we saw this huge drop off. So that's where we're at the moment. The market doesn't want to get that drop off, but it looks like we may get it. Now let's discuss earnings. So tomorrow we have earnings of Apple, AMD, 3M, Verizon, eBay. But let's talk about before the open tomorrow. Tomorrow before the open, we have Verizon, 3M, and that looks about all we're trading. Now tomorrow after close, we have Apple, AMD, eBay, and we'll talk about all those tomorrow and these stocks to watch out for on Wednesday video. But for now, we're going to look at 3M and we're going to look at Verizon after I cover the stocks that y'all mentioned in the group chat. So I'm scrolling back up to see what y'all wanted. First person requested MSFT, which is Microsoft. So if we look here at Microsoft, we're starting to get that reversal here, which is basically what we were looking for on SPY, where we got that pullback here where we pushed into this resistance zone. We formed that doji and then we started to reverse here. So there is room for this to reverse back down. Again, it just looks like a more exaggerated form of SPY, because if we looked at SPY, we had this huge range bound here putting up a support and resistance, and that's where we saw it start to form some resistance on SPY on the daily. We're basically getting the same thing here, but instead of dojis, we're having some reds all over the place. It looks like if we get below this level here of 104.7, we have room back down to test these new lows here. And I'm sorry that's not straight, but you know what I'm trying to do. I just want to keep this video short. But you know, we're going to come down and we're going to test the low here, if we start to break lower. Again, if we break higher with SPY, then we have room all the way up to this next high. It's basically just simple support and resistance plays until earnings hits us soon. The next requested was BIIB. He said it was for an earnings play. So because it's earnings and I don't know the stock, I'm not going to cover it. Earnings are more of a gamble when you're trading with options. Already covered SPY, Tesla. Again, we're starting to see this bounce on Tesla that we expected in the Sunday Stock Talk, where we're getting to the support around 280. Now that we're at the support of 280, we're pushing into this resistance zone. It looked like we gapped down because the whole market gapped down today, and then we started pushing up toward the highs. It's good that we started pushing up toward the highs because SPY just took that whole doji movement and was indecisive. Here we're showing that bulls are still in control, so we're looking for a push above 300. If we can get above 300, we have no resistance until we get to 320. So this is call zone if we get above 300. However, we start to drop below 290, then we're going to test 280 again, and maybe even go back down to 250. But at the moment, it looks like we're going to retrace back up to 320 as we break above and test this trend line here before we continue down further, or at least that's my expectations on Tesla. We're also looking at AMD. So what's going to happen with AMD is no matter which way it goes, because of implied volatility, which I just made a video on that for the course so that it explains it for earnings, but we will have IV increasing throughout the day because of the anticipation of earnings. So whether you're trading with the general direction or not, your contract should increase in price because of IV, implied volatility, but that's a whole nother thing to take in to effect. basically that's what happened today with a few other stocks that were traded, but that's not what we're going to mention here. It looks like we tried to push down, but we formed an indecision showing that, hey, the bulls are here. Hey, we're going to confirm this trend line here that we've had since 1226 back in the end of December, and it looks like we're starting to bounce off that. So it wouldn't surprise me if we see a bounce off here back to the upside, or at least in anticipation for good earnings. Again, I don't pay attention to news, so I don't know what the earnings are, but we're always going to anticipate something good. At least that's how I see it. SQ Square. Square has had a run up, or at least had the run up on Friday based off that triangle breakout pattern that we saw. And it looks like we put in this. It looks like bulls are still trying to hold on here, but it really just depends on what we're going to see here. It looks a little overextended on the daily. If you see this, it's been running for the past few times, past month. I mean, it's the same thing with SPY. But SPY started to consolidate. This hasn't necessarily consolidated yet, so I don't know what movement we'll have. But it looks like we have room all the way back down to 66 where this previous support zone is, or 67, 68. So watch out for that. Apple, AAPL. We'll have those earnings after close tomorrow. So again, the same thing with implied volatility. No matter if you're trading with the market or not, the options price should generally increase in price because of implied volatility. Again, that video I just uploaded to the course. But again, if you don't want the course, it's fine. You can read up on it on Tasty Trades. They explain IV perfectly, so you can watch out for that. But again, it looks like we're pushing into this resistance zone here, but yet we're still green. So we've been a little overextended here down to the downside, and we're starting to build some support here and make our way back up. We still made, you see how we have a low, a higher low, a higher low, a higher low, and a higher low, which means we're still in an uptrend, and we have this higher high here from these past, so we're still uptrending. So if we can see a push above 158, and we'll still have room up to 164. But again, watch out for earnings tomorrow and the anticipation as it's growing with that. People are looking at NVIDIA. I really don't like the spread on NVIDIA, but I'm still going to try to cover it because it's been requested by multiple people. But if we're looking at NVIDIA here, we had this huge drop down, and then we had the push back up. At least I believe that's what it was on the daily. We had a few people take the trade above the exponential moving average around right here and trade it to the upside, trading the exponential EMA or the EMA bounces here. But really, we had that huge sell-off, so I don't really know what else to expect from SPY here. Not SPY, NVIDIA, my bad. So let's see if we can go back on the daily here. So we're pushing down, forming what is known as a head and shoulders pattern. You can see here shoulder, head, shoulder. So it wouldn't surprise me if we see more room to the upside for two reasons. One, we have this head and shoulders to fill here. If we can fill this head and shoulders, that's what we're looking at. For this pattern here to the downside, which is indicative of a reversal. Earnings may later help us out with that. Looks like 214 maybe. But we also have a gap fill. So we have a gap here that needs to fill with bulls stepping in saying, hey, we're not dropping any lower with this within this indecision. So it looks like NVIDIA should be green coming up. I'm sorry, it looks like my computer's getting a little overheated. So if you hear that sound or that air noise in the background, that's the reason. All right, New Trader 17, I've covered Apple, I covered MSFT, I covered AMD. INTC looks like the next one, which is the Intel Corporation. If you see this, where it looks like we're a little overextended here, we're pushing back down to the downside. Possible gap fill or possible bounce into this trend line here. You see how we're holding this trend, and yet we're making these higher highs, almost more like consolidating into these zones here. So watch out for that. It looks like we have room all the way back down to 45 as support, and then bouncing in between the zone on ITEL or Intel Corporation, SQ, and other stuff, NVIDIA, and Z. So ZZ, this is what we're going to cover. Oops, sorry, that's ZZ. Verizon. This is what's going to have earnings tomorrow before market open. It looks like we're showing some room to the downside, which is not good. If people are expecting room to the downside, then we may actually have that depending on the guidance and the EPS that it's expecting. We see here we're pushing down to the downside here with this downtrend that we're holding here, these highs. And then we have these solid supports here at around, what is this, $53 mark, a whole number of supports. So if we can have a push back down into 53 and then bouncing back up to 56, that would be the nice move. But again, if it bounces up, again, I don't know what to say about Verizon yet because the earnings have not come out and I can't predict a direction. Just know that we have a super strong support at 53 and watch out for that. All right, guys. That is the Sunday Stock Talk. If you wanted a hint into what we were doing in the live or in the premium chat, which you don't have to care, but we traded Apple puts and we traded SPY calls today. So I just wanted to quickly at the end of this video go over it. Again, if you don't want to, please tune out now. You have no reason to stay and watch this. But what we traded here on Apple was the breakdown here, 15-minute, my bad. 10-day 1 minute is what we're looking at here. If you can see here, we started to see this, and based off what we know on how to define when a market is trending or range bound, we knew the market was trending at this moment, trending to the downside with SPY following it. We entered here on Apple puts and took about 10% profit. Not huge, nothing huge, but it's still, hey, a trade is a trade. Next thing, we took SPY calls here because at around 9:30 we knew the market was range bound, and when it's range bound we have this specific strategy to trade to know how to profit in a range bound market. But we entered here SPY calls and entered above here for 11%, at least on me. Some people got more, or you could have got up to 40%. Again, that is what we're looking at. Again, if you want to do that, the link is below the free Discord chat, but if you just want to join the free chat, that still has content. I'm still posting out to YouTube, so join that free chat so I can hear you and we can talk and we can do whatever. All right, guys, thank you for tuning in. Please like, comment, and subscribe.